Hi, welcome to Bitwin Techie. In my previous videos, we have learnt about what is SDLC, different phases of SDLC, process of SDLC, and different models of SDLC. In this video, we are going to learn about different type of testing available in our testing activities. Alright, let's get started. So first one is white box testing. You can see in the diagram. Another one is black box testing. Another one is gray box testing. Let's get some knowledge on different type of testings individually. So first one is white box testing. What is white box testing? White box testing is also known as unit testing, or it can be called as clear box testing, or you can call it as glass box testing. It is a type of testing done by the developers where they check each and every lines of code written by them before handing over the application to the testing engineers. It is known as white box testing since the code is visible for the developers during testing process. Alright, so let's see the diagram which is representing the testing or white box testing process. Alright, so first one is customer's requirement. So generally we are getting the customer's requirement in the form of CRS or SRS. CRS means customer requirement specification and SRS means software requirement specification. Alright, so next is, once this will be completed, we will be having the coding which is done by the developers. And once the coding will be done, developers used to do one round of white box testing to make sure whatever the codes they have written, that is correct or not. Alright, once the coding will be completed and white box testing, one round of white box testing will be completed by the developer, it will be the application will be hand over to the test engineers for testing the application. Once again, I'll tell you the entire process. Once the requirement is collected from the customer, a set of developers start developing the application by writing some codes as per the requirements. After codings are done, developers used to have one more step of testing, which is nothing but our white box testing. Doing white box testing manually, it is time consuming and no accuracy. Because of that, developers write some simple lines of code or unit test programs by using unit test tool, which depends upon different languages to test the main codes which has been written by themselves, whether it is correct or not. The job of a unit test is to check the main program only. After correction of all the bugs, they will hand over the application to the test engineers to test the entire application functionalities according to the customer's requirement. Alright, so let's see what exactly the developers test during the white box testing. So developers used to test different paths they have added in their code, or whatever the conditions they have mentioned in their code, whatever the loops they have mentioned in their code, and along with that they will be checking for the memory and response time also. Alright, what exactly path testing? Here developers checks the flow of the execution of the program, that is main function calls the exact sub functions or not. They also check the total number of paths defined in the program. Alright, and here path testing for developers they should test by the functionalities, where test engineers test by the module wise. Alright. Here in the condition testing, developers checks all the written codes, all the written program is executed for both true as well as false conditions. Alright, whatever the different conditions they have mentioned, whether that is executed for all the true and false conditions, they will be checking. Next is loop testing. Here developers checks if the written looping statements are executed successfully for enter number of cycles or iteration, whatever the number of cycles and iteration they have mentioned. So for those number of iteration or cycles, whether it is the looping statement is executed or not, they will be checking. And here developers used to remove the unused lines of code which has been written by themselves by using some tools. Okay, so here developers used those tools only for identifying the unused lines of code. After that they can remove or they can keep it as whatever their wish. Alright. So next is response time. Response time means here developers checks the execution time of the program with the help of some tools. Okay, so here developers will check whatever the execution time of the program. Alright, so accordingly they can modify the timings also. Alright, so this is all about the white box testing process. Next we'll be learning about black box testing process. So black box testing process is a type of testing done by the test engineers where they check the functionality of an application according to the customer's requirement. It is known as black box testing since the code is not visible for the test engineers during the testing process. Alright, so let's see the difference between white box testing and black box testing. Alright, so first one is white box testing can be done by the developers only. Okay, and black box testing can be done by the test engineers only. During white box testing, developers used to check the code which has been written by themselves. During black box testing, test engineers checks the functionality of the application. During white box testing, code is visible for the developers. During black box testing, code is not visible for the test engineers. For performing white box testing, coding knowledge is really required. But if you are a tester and you are performing the black box testing, coding knowledge is not required. Alright, so I think you are clear on what is white box testing and what is black box testing. Let's see different type of black box testing. Again, black box testing is divided into two parts. First one is functional testing, another one is non-functional testing. So there are different type of testings which are included in functional testing, like functional testing, integration testing, system testing, smoke or sanity testing, ad hoc testing, regression testing, user acceptance testing, etc. etc. Likewise, we will be having some different kind of non-functional testing also, which are like performance testing, compatibility testing, accessibility testing, usability testing, security testing, portability testing, reliability testing. So in our next video, we are going to learn functional testing completely in details, and I'll give you the brief or high level knowledge on non-functional testings also. But in detail I cannot give you the entire knowledge, because for performing the non-functional testing or teaching you the non-functional testing, we might require some tools. All right. So this is all about white box testing and black box testing. Last one is gray box testing. What is gray box testing? Generally, it is done by the person who is having the knowledge of coding as well as testing. Some of the organization, you will see some persons will be working in some different models, and there will be no test engineers available in that project or in that model. So in that case, developers used to do the coding and as well as they will be doing the testing also. So that person will be called as gray box tester. Now you got the clear idea what is white box testing, what is black box testing, and what is gray box testing. And in my next video, we'll be learning the functional testing entirely in detail thoroughly. Okay? I hope my video is really helpful for you. If you feel so, please like, comment, share, and please do not forget to subscribe my channel by pressing the bell icon, so that please be connected with Between Techie so that you will be get notified with newly added videos. And please be connected with Between Techie for getting the new knowledge on new technologies. Thank you.